We go through life and we get hurt, and then we cover up our heart in the attempt to protect ourselves from the pain that we once felt. But in this video, I want to tell you the reason why you need to live with an open heart, and not just live with an open heart. Open up your heart as much as possible despite the pain that you've been through or how many times that you've been hurt. My story is I lived with a closed heart for probably about 15, 20 years of my life. I would say that when I was an early, like a young boy, I had a pretty good life. The tough times for me came when I was close to 10 and throughout my teens. So basically, one of my family members was a heroin addict, and at home it was just a really tough, chaotic, destructive environment to live through. And it wasn't just 6 months or a year, it was year after year after year after year after year. And I basically grew up throughout my teenage years living in a really unsafe environment at home, and didn't have a lot of connection with my family. And that, going through the pain of that, because it was a painful time in my life, going through the pain of that, what I did is I closed my heart off, like we do when we get hurt, to protect ourselves. Because, you know, we're born into this world as an innocent, pure little baby, and nothing has been done to us. Our heart is open. And then slowly and surely, over time, we have painful things done to us. And painful things could be a one-off event, or it could be something where, say, for example, you had parents that just had a behavior that hurt you consistently over, a long period of time type thing. But it happens to everyone. We experience pain, these traumas, and then we then go from being a baby where we've got our heart purely open, we live in a state of love, to now we've got this closed heart and we're protective, yeah? We don't open our heart up for everyone. And in some extreme cases, we don't open our heart up to anyone. And me going through experiencing life with living with a closed heart to now where I live with an open heart, and I literally make it my goal to just continue to open my heart more and more and more and more. I have experienced both sides of the fence, and I can tell you that living with an open heart is where you want to live. Because when I went through, when I got through my teenage years and went through the pain, and then I closed my heart off, and then I moved out when I became an adult, because what are we searching for? We just want to experience love ultimately. Yeah, we just want to be happy and fulfilled, and we want to live in peace and things like that. It doesn't matter where you live in the world. That's just what everyone wants. And I went in search of, okay, how do I experience that? I just want to be happy. I want to be fulfilled. I want to live with peace and that type of thing. And early on in my adult years, I thought money was the answer, money and success. So that's where I went and chased. The goal was to make as much money as I can and kind of climb the ladder and be successful and all that type of thing. And the more and more money that I made, and I got all the things, the house, the car, the nice neighborhood, the clothes, the holidays, the watches, all that stuff, right? I got it all. And the more and more money that I made, and mind you, I was living a great life. I wasn't depressed or anything like that. But the more and more I got it, the more I felt this weird feeling in my heart that was like, oh, there's something missing here. There's a hole here. This, what I thought was the key to happiness and fulfillment, it's not it. And I think this is what we do a lot of the time is we chase, well, this is the majority of what people do, is we chase external things to fill holes in our heart. But I made a realization around about the age of 30, which was I was trying to create happiness and fulfillment and peace from getting external objects in the material world. But happiness, fulfillment, and peace is an internal game. You need to feel it internally. And I realized that I had been holding on to a lot of anger, blame, resentment towards my family member that had caused the destruction at home, right? So until I healed that, there was no way I would be able to open my heart back up, because this is what happens when you have a closed heart, right? So you go through life, you get hurt. And maybe for you, you've been hurt multiple times. Like you've had multiple people do different things. And it could be the crappy parents. It could be a bully. It could be that you've had your heart broken with partners. Worse things that could have happened to you, right? But we've all got our story. And there could be like one main thing for you, or there could be multiple things. But we've all experienced it. And because we get hurt, we cover our heart up. And what's covering our heart up? Well, it's, you know that you're covering your heart up when you're not being on the outside who you know you are on the inside. So if you're not fully expressing who you are to this world, that means you got your heart covered. If you're not doing the things that you truly want to do, if you're not talking up and being the person that you want to be, that means that you're not being who you truly are, which means that you're blocking your heart because you're scared that, hey, if I show the world who I truly am here, then it's going to lead to me getting hurt again like I have in the past. So, we need to somehow learn to open up our heart again and trust to open up again despite the pain that we've experienced. And like I was saying, is that me being on two sides of the fence where I've experienced life through a closed heart and now with an open heart. Probably about 8 years ago or so, I made it my focus and goal to live from my heart in everything that I did. So I let go of the anger, blame, and resentment. This is kind of one of the first steps that you need to do, is that you need to let go of any anger, blame, or resentment that you've got towards the person who hurt you. Whilst you hold on to that, you ain't ever going to experience full, true love. You just won't. So this is a really hard thing to do for a lot of us, but I can tell you from experience how much it changes your life. So this family member, I hated this person, for 15 years of my life, and to the point where, wouldn't be in the same room as them. And if we had a family event, if they were there, I would leave type thing. Had this really strong amount of hate. And the day that I decided to let it go, and it literally was just a decision. I'm just like, okay, I'm done with this. I'm going to let this thing go. I felt 15 years of this weight drop off my body. And it was like one of the most amazing experiences in my life. And if I look back, a pivotal moment in my life, because the trajectory of my life changed after that. Because at that time I had got myself into a career that wasn't what I really wanted to do. Hanging around people that I didn't really want to be hanging around. Yeah. When you're not living from your heart, all these things will happen. You'll be in the wrong career. You will probably be in the wrong relationship. You'll be hanging around the wrong mates. You won't be following your passions because you're just too embarrassed or scared or nervous or ashamed or whatever it is that you don't want to. The common thing is there's so many people out there that love to sing, but then they won't do it in front of people. That's not living from your heart. There's so many people that have those things, passions that they love to do, their heart loves to do, yet they won't do it in front of people. That's a sign that you're closing your heart. Imagine you had the freedom, and this is like my ultimate goal, is that I just want to be as free as possible to show this world who I am. And it's a constant focus of mine to just continue to open up my heart, open up my heart, open my heart, open my heart, so I can just be myself, And it's a process. It takes years to slowly open up, especially after you've been hurt. But that's like a major focus of mine, So if the first thing is that think of someone who has hurt you, maybe you've had multiple people, you got to learn to let go of anger, blame, resentment with this. I run a workshop on how to do this specifically. I probably should do a podcast, separate podcast, specifically on how to do this, because there's a specific 4 steps around doing it. But just make the decision today to let that anger, resentment, blame go towards that person, because if you're holding on to a lot of it, as soon as you let it go, you'll physically feel your heart open up and start to breathe again. Once your heart now opens again, you'll watch what actually happens in your life. Your life will change, because then you'll go from, oh, I'm not being who I want to be, or I'm living my life for someone else. What do I actually want to do? Oh, I've always loved to do this. Okay, cool. I'm going to make my career out of it. You know what? The person I'm with, I deserve better. I'm going to end that relationship. Or these people that I hang around, these friends, man, they're holding me back in life. They're not supporting the future that I'm wanting. I'm going to cut off this person. Yeah, so you're going to have multiple things there which will really have a major impact on your life. And once you've done that, the next thing would be around just the expectation on what happens when you live with an open heart. So about 8 years ago, I mentioned that I made it my focus to live through my heart in everything that I do. And when you do this, there's a price of love, right? The price of love is heartbreak. And I think a lot of us, we avoid that. But if we just accept that the price of love is heartbreak, then we can maybe stop avoiding it so much. If you think about this thing, is sooner or later, you're going to experience heartbreak in your life. And that could be through a death of a loved one. That could be through you just, putting all your heart into something, a passion of yours that you're wanting to get and you don't end up getting it. That causes heartbreak. It could be that you have to leave someone who you love, whether it's a friend, whether it's an intimate partner, whether it's a family member. It could be that someone that you love leaves you. But sooner or later, we're going to experience heartbreak. And for some people and experiences, we get to share that love for a long time. Others, we only get a short time. And I will say is that 8 years ago, since I made it my focus to live through my heart in everything that I do, I left a career that I was making great money, but I didn't care about, to follow my passions in life. I really made my friends group way smaller. I started doing things that I really wanted to do and being the person what I wanted to be. And since doing that, I have experienced heartbreak several times. I've had I've lost my dad, trying to make my career work. That took years and years, and going through that again, when you're trying so hard to make something work, it doesn't work, it's heartbreaking. I've had my relationship of my wife break down, and we separated. That was heartbreak. Recently I was seeing a girl for such a short amount of time, and it wasn't a serious thing when we got together, but we ended up falling for each other, and we had to leave that because I didn't see the relationship going to be one that lasts a lifetime. But that was heartbreaking because our relationship in that case was at its peak. There was nothing wrong with it, but the right thing was to walk away. And we went from speaking to each other every single day to complete cut off, never speaking again. I'll never speak to her again, I'll never see her again. And that's heartbreaking. So I will say is that over the past 8 years of me focusing on living from my heart in everything that I do, I have experienced a lot of heartbreak, several heartbreak times and moments. But at the same time, I've experienced more love than I ever have. I think the point of this life is just to experience love the highest degree possible. Like, I think from here, where do we go once we die, right? Where we know there's the realm of where our soul is. And I just think that once we leave this physical body, our soul just is pure love. Because if we think, God is pure love, God created everything here. And I think that we just experience this feeling of pure love. So I think the whole point of this life is to kind of get back to remembering who we actually are, which is this state of love. And it's very hard to do that in a physical world that's designed, and literally is designed, to pull you away from this state of love. Like, there's a lot of, I think, manufactured division in this world. There's always separate political parties. There's all these different religions. If you jump on social media, there's just so much like hate going on. Of course, there's some great stuff on social media, but there's a lot of hateful content. And I post things and I get hateful comments. And if you look at the comments that I'm getting, like, half of them are bots. They're not even real people. And what's a bot? It's basically a fake profile created by an organization and a company to create division and hate in this world. And if you think that is done on a large scale of millions and millions across the world, and you've got fake people commenting hurtful things and nasty things on people's profile, it creates hate and division in this world. So I think the world is designed to keep us in a low vibe state like that and be angry at people and, see division. I'm a Christian, I'm a Catholic, I'm a Muslim. If you're in Australia, I'm a liberal, I go Labor, or America, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican. Like, there's always this division everywhere. But I think ultimately, if after this life we go to a state of this pure love, I think the whole purpose of this life is to remember who we are and get back to that state. And the only way you're going to get back to that state is by living with an open heart. It's the answer to everything. And another thing I will say about heartbreak is I believe that every time you go through heartbreak, I believe it's God's way of allowing you to create the vessel to experience even more love. Because it's kind of like, it's winter here in Melbourne at the moment, and it's a really sunny day. You can't see it, but in winter, for example, it's cold, it's wet, it's rainy here. And when you finally get that sunny day, like, it's so sweet. Yeah, I'm up on a rooftop at the moment. There's a lady like sunbaking out in the sun. I was just kind of quickly looking at her before, and she's like sitting there just loving it. And the duality of life and experiencing hard times, painful times, experiencing that makes the good times so much sweeter. So heartbreak is actually a good thing. It's preparing you to experience even more love. But you've got to have the courage to continue living your life with an open heart despite being hurt. Make it your goal, make it your focus. Open your heart in everything that you do in life. Follow your heart, follow your passions, fully express yourself. That's where you get happiness, peace, fulfillment. Just being who you truly are and letting it out in this world in everything that you do.